Good morning, everyone. It is 10:06 on February the 12th, 2024. I want to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. This is our February edition to our Monday Morning Momentum. And I'm excited to see Black Chamber leaders from across the state here. Before we get started with our president's report, our project manager's report, and chairman's remarks, I'd like to do a quick roll call slash icebreaker activity as we see several people here. A couple people who are new. I see a staff person from Black Chamber here, so I want to give everyone a chance to give their name, the chamber that they are representing, and one interesting fact about yourself before passing it on to another individual. So I will start. My name is Matt Houston. I am representing the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce, in which I'm proud to represent the 30 markets and 350,000 Black businesses. And something interesting about myself is that I'm going to be a girl dad in T minus 1 month, and so the family is trying to brace for that. And so I will pass this on to our project manager, Kristen O'Neal.
Good morning. My name is Christi O'Neal. I serve as project manager for TAAACC. And an interesting fact about me is I advised Matt to go get a brand new token of protection now that he's going to be a girl dad.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Staying strapped over here.
And I will pass it to Miss Linda.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, of Linda Gray. And first and foremost, I am members of two chambers this year, the Greater Southwest Black Chamber of Commerce, and then also the Abilene Black Chamber of Commerce. And congratulations, Matt. I tell you what, keep it up. Go ahead on and take care of it, all the kids in your early age.
Well,
get them out of the way.
I appreciate it. I think my new advice is slow it down in this stage of my life. I think Linda left, but I wanted to pass it to D. Moore, one of Miss Linda's member organizations.
Good morning, D. Moore, Abilene Black Chamber of Commerce. And an interesting fact, I really can't think of one other than, real quick, this is my 7th year as president of the Abilene Black Chamber, and I get to turn it over in January of 2025 to the former mayor of Abilene, Anthony Williams.
All right.
I'm taking a back seat, and I don't know how far back, but it's going to be a back seat.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate your service. And we're going to finish strong this year.
Mr. Harrison Blair. He looks debonair. He was there a minute ago.
I am still here, good folks. I have a plumber in the house. We're still dealing with the plumbing leaks from the last snowstorm, so y'all excuse my non-video. But I'm Harrison Blair. I serve as president and CEO of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. And a fun fact, I really actually am one of those people who reads when I get free time. So I'm researching a lot of history of not only Black Dallas, but just the history in general of how we have colored the city and how we have given flavor to all things that are democratic. So that is really my real pastime. And so, and if you like history, then I'm your guy. I would love to share some stories and learn some things from you too. So that's my 10 cents. And I'd like to pass it over to Ms. Tigges Solomon. And it's good to see everybody here today.
So my name is Tigges Solomon. I'm the operations manager at the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. Been here for exactly 1 year. So I actually have two fun facts. One, I didn't know both teams were my favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. At the last minute, I decided to go with 49ers. And so I'm kind of been disappointed with that, but still happy Chief won. And then the second fun fact is that Miss Linda Gray was actually my teacher at Collin County College 2 years ago for some courses I was taking there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Miss Linda Gray is the most interesting woman in the world. Let's bring Ben Brown to the stage. Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Ben Brown with the Ennis Freedman Chamber of Commerce, formerly known as Ennis Negro Chamber. Uh, I guess something that's happened to me recently. I just recently retired, I think last week or week before last, from the Dallas County Sheriff's Department after 5 years. I had retired already from AT&T, but I went and got my last job at AT&T. I mean, at Dallas County Sheriff. I finally retired from there, but I still have my real estate company, and it's slowly growing.
Congratulations. Get those checks in.
Oh yeah, thank you.
All right, if not, let's go to Coretta Graham with the Corpus Christi Black Chamber.
Good morning. My name is Coretta Graham, President CEO of the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce. My fun fact is I love anime.
Ah, neat. Good deal.
I would pass it to Tammy Francis.
Hello, y'all. I am Dr. Tammy Francis, and I am the parliamentarian for the Corpus Christi Black Chamber. And I have also been a teacher. Not only am I in business, but I've also been a teacher for 24 years in counting, a traditional educator in K-12. I've taught secondary and higher education where I am now. And then, of course, and I own a business. So that's how I come to the Black Chamber. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Doc. And last but certainly not least, let's have our president, Charles O'Neal, do his introduction, and then you can go to your president's remarks afterwards.
Good morning, everyone. Charles O'Neal, and my fun fact is this is not a cosmetic gray beard. It's the real thing. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I want to start out by noting that and an apology of sorts to Ms. D. Moore and Linda Gray. I was scheduled to be on Zoom call with Abilene Black Chamber for their board retreat on this past Saturday. And I mentioned to Ms. Gray that I had a massive conflict with my honeydew list, and I just was not able to get on that call. But so I owe y'all one, Abilene, and I will make it up to you if you allow me to. Since we last were on our call, I know we had a couple of birthdays, but Mr. Chairman had a birthday just this past week. And as he noted earlier, in his fun fact, had the announcement of his new daughter on the way. So hats off to you. I think we also noted that Ben Brown had a birthday since we were last together. I did double up on Mr. Chairman's email notice about this call, that this is our Black History Month. And he did just to underscore what Matt has already said. This is February. And I just take a moment to just kind of refresh folks' memory about the reason that we do the work that we do. The Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce, of course, is the outgrowth of an organization that started in 1936. The Texas State Negro Chamber of Commerce was formed at the Texas Centennial Celebration here in Dallas by joining together the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, which was founded in 1926, and the Houston Negro Chamber of Commerce, which was founded in 1935. The Texas Centennial Celebration, again in Fair Park in 1936, brought together Black leaders from across the state, and it was determined that we needed an organization that represented the interests of all Black businesses across the state, many of them agricultural, certainly many of them in retail. We had not yet evolved into the many various enterprises that Black folk engage in now, but the need for an organization like this, a statewide Black Chamber of Commerce, has not diminished, and probably is more heightened now today than anytime in our recent past. And so with that reminder, I would just encourage us to refortify the reasons that we get together on this call on Monday mornings. Make it a point to reconnect in between meetings. Know that, and certainly in my mind, and I think each of us is reflected in our individual markets, Black business is definitely under assault. It certainly is if left at the hands of our state government. We know that the Supreme Court has already ruled against affirmative action. We know that our state legislature has enacted anti-diversity legislation. And we believe that there will be long-term, long-lasting impacts from those two pieces of legislation and many others across the spectrum of the economy. And so I think that at no time, as in no time in the recent past, it's more critical that we engage with each other and use these calls and use our primary place in many of the markets that we serve to provide the leadership in our communities. And we can develop those strategies and those approaches to both leadership and for firming up the economic foothold for Black Texans. As Matt noted, now there are over 350,000 Black-owned businesses in our state. We know that Texas has the largest Black population among the 50 states. And we also know that neither of those facts seem to have had any positive impact on our presence in political structures. And so we know also that historically, community leadership has come from business ownership. And so we know that the role that TAAACC and its member chambers across the state plays a vital role in establishing the foothold for all those benefits that we should reasonably expect from our presence in those marketplaces and our contribution through taxes and other consumer opportunities. And so this is Black History Month. We make history every day that we're in the business of Black business. And so I want you all to feel fortified and strengthened by the very, very critical role that Black business plays in the state of Texas and across the nation. And so that's my quick and dirty on the Black History Month, Mr. Chairman. I did expect, and we'll have to push back. We had a conflict. We had some very exciting news to present to you. I'll give you a preview. Many of you know that there are clearly a number of micro lenders and other secondary lenders in the marketplace. The Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce has signed an affiliate agreement with Lendistry. Lendistry clearly is active here in the state of Texas. They were present at our annual conference this past September, but we've signed an affiliate agreement with them to begin to cure some of the very, very seem like omnipresent kind of challenges that Black businesses experience in accessing capital. And so we will have a representative. They just had a conflict with scheduling this morning, but have agreed to be with us on our next call and certainly present at our next convening of our quarterly board meeting. But Lendistry is, again, a secondary source lender, primarily lending SBA products, but they have established as a Black-owned entity, have established a foothold across the country, have also signed an affiliate agreement with the U.S. Black Chambers, and so that we won't miss not having the kind of relationships in our local markets that will provide, again, capital for the very pressing needs of Black-owned businesses. And so I think that's a big one. As far as I'm concerned, one of the things that when we started this this work now 10 years ago, that one of our primary goals was to begin to solve access to capital as one of the crushing needs of Black-owned businesses. So this relationship with Lendistry, I think, is the first step. Clearly, our other financial services industry relationships are key. This one is tailor-made expressly for the needs of the businesses that we work for. And so we're really excited about that, and hope to introduce you to Carrington Eubanks, the Vice President of Lendistry, on our next month's call. Again, we have been steadily working on this literally since September on finalizing this deal. And it has passed muster with our council. Our Vice Chair, Carol Guest, has eyeballed the relationship. The good thing about it is when your members borrow a little money, TAAACC gets a little drag, and so it puts a little less pressure on the organization in that providing a benefit to our members also benefits the organization and kind of takes the edge off of some of the things that we have to address on a regular basis. Many of you are aware as well that there's a growing, and this is not directly related to business, but I mentioned our state's legislation passed this last session against diversity, equity, and inclusion in state agencies, starting off, of course, with colleges and universities. We know, and you recall that there was a failed attempt, and we take pride in leading the charge in making sure it was a failed attempt to expand that anti-DE legislation to the states contracting for goods and services. We do expect that will re-arise in January, at least by January 25, unless there is another special session called and is able to be sneaked onto the back of some other legislation. We know that the governor has not diminished in any way his attempt to decimate public education in our state. So we do expect that at some point he will reconvene the legislation in special session in an attempt to force the voucher deal onto Texans. And so we want to be mindful of that. Again, I believe that is, again, one of the key roles that business organizations play in our state, and particularly in our community. Black business leaders have provided leadership, being elected to city councils, county commissions across the state. And again, I think that there's no time like in the past that's even more important. We know that economic issues kind of trump all other issues. And so to the extent that we as an organization can keep the very critical needs of Black-owned business in front of our city councils, our school boards, our county commissions, we do much good work on behalf of quality of life of Black Texans. And so that's a quick and dirty, Mr. Chairman. I'll take any questions. We reserve those to the end of the meeting if you like. But we're working to ensure that the landscape changes despite the challenges that changes to the benefit of Black-owned business, despite the challenges that we face in the marketplace.
Thank you, Mr. President. We will defer our questions or in discussion to the end after our presentation with the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce. But I would like Christian O'Neal to provide an update as project manager for TAAACC, and then I'll make quick remarks after that, and then we will go to our chamber presentation. Kristen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Really quickly, we are in beyond talking phase. We are working with our web designer, Daniel Briggs, with ATX Web Designs to update tax web presence. I'm really excited about that. We got our first version of the kind of edits. So there are some changes already on the website. So if you go out there, you can see those, and there are a few more that'll be coming over the next few days. With that, I would like to request headshots from each of our board chairs and chamber presidents, so that we can make sure that we get the webpage updated with that. And that's it. As Matt, you guys, we've mentioned in January that the Community Navigator program is continuing through May of this year. So that has been officially, that's actually happening. And so we'll be in contact with you, Ms. Linda Gray, and then the rest of our chambers to talk about the counseling opportunities that we need to see to get our numbers up for that. So that's my report. You're on mute.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neal. I appreciate that, the report, and thank you for your continued work to improve our web presence online. I want to thank Charles for his work with Lendistry. As they were supporters of our conference, they had several members of their team at our conference in Pflugerville in September, and they're continuing to work ink out this deal so that we can provide services to our chamber members across the state. I do want to make a couple of remarks before going to our presentation, and that is to provide you an update on the executive board. As you all know, our Vice Chair Carol Guest, our Treasurer Cliff Freeney, and our Secretary Coretta Graham all serve on the TAAACC Executive Board. We meet monthly, and they have agreed to be responsible for several sub departments so that we can keep TAAACC organized. One, something that our vice chair also serves as our counsel to our president, so that we can assure that we are doing the work of TAAACC in a legal standpoint. She's also working with him on our conference logistics. Our treasurer, Clifford Freeney, works alongside Charles with the conference, specifically for the golf tournament, as well as assuring that we're going to have a sound financial plan within the organization. Our secretary, Coretta Graham, who you'll hear from later today, will be the point person in assigning Black Chambers roles for your Monday Morning Momentum Spotlight. And so you're going to see a survey be released, and you'll start receiving communications either via email or phone call from our secretary to slate to place a slot for you and your chamber to present for Monday Morning Momentum. We have the honor of hearing her and her organization as the first spotlighted Black Chamber of Commerce, and I believe the Dallas Black Chamber has agreed to conduct our March event. And so we're looking for chambers. We're looking to hear from chambers of commerce throughout the state so that we can all get to know one another better, and for us to have a healthy discussion after the presentation so that we can be a resource for that organization. And of course, we have former chair Courtney Johnson Rose and Jim Wyatt, who serve as the advisory committee for us on our executive board. I say all of that to say we are making an initiative for us to work as a team more in 2024 because there's a lot of ground to cover before we go to our 89th legislative state legislation next January. We want to make sure TAACC is prepared to make any advocacy moves politically or policy-wise to better our businesses at the state level. and it starts today. And so we are working hard to have that organization so that your local chambers can be can have us as a resource to build your chambers. All right. With that being said, I am honored to introduce the president of the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce, an attorney, as well as our secretary, Ms. Coretta Graham, to do the presentation for her chamber. Give me 2 seconds so I can share my screen, and then we will get started.
Got it.
All right. Coretta, you can get started with your intro, and then once we pull the presentation up, you can go right to it.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I guess I'll start with our history. The Corpus Christi Black Chamber was initially incorporated back in 1943 as a Negro Chamber of Commerce. It was the first chamber of its kind in the area.
Hold on for one second, Coretta. Sorry about that. I was hoping that the presentation, the PowerPoint, would be ready. Give us 2 seconds. There we go. All right, we're good to go now, Coretta.
Okay, you can go to the next one. Next slide, please. This is our mission statement, of course, dealing with the three. We try to limit it to 3 areas: advocacy, business development, and then access to capital. Next slide. This is about our history. We were formed in 1943 as a Negro Chamber of Commerce, and then we reorganized in 2006 as the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce. As you can see in this picture, it was basically all women. So fortunately, as of today, we have Black men involved because that's always a need for balance. Next slide. These are our core values internally: passion about mission, resourcefulness, integrity, communication, teamwork. Externally, advocacy, education, service to others, commitment to others, and accountability to others. Next slide. Those are 3 areas of focus: business development and assistance, advocacy, access to capital. We are fortunate to be able to have a seat, non-voting, but still a seat as part of the Corpus, as part of the Regional Economic Development Corporation. And so we always make sure that we have a representative attend those meetings. Next slide. Current projects that we've started, January, have our Martin Luther King prayer breakfast, and we're trying to partner with our local churches to basically let them know, get them involved with the Black Chamber through developing this prayer, MLK Prayer Breakfast Business Fellowship. And we're working on a business directory, but we're probably going to do it as a publication. We did for a couple of years our Black Business Brunch in February, but now we've started because of the onslaught or attack involving DEI, we've started a Belonging and Cultural Summit, which is in essence a DEI summit. So we had our first one this year, and it's something I think we'll try and plan for each February. Black Business Week we do in August, because August is Black Business Month. And then we are trying to find property so we can develop a business assistance center. Unfortunately, with Black-owned business, a lot of them are small businesses, and there's always a need for assistance. And we're a volunteer board until we can hire staff this year. We used to have staff years ago, but we're trying to bring it back. Next slide. We do a scholarship program we target African-American students who are graduating high school, as well as African-American students who are in college. Here in the coastal Bend area, we have TAMU, Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and then Texas A&M, Kingsville. And our community college is Del Mar. And then I think in Beeville area is the coastal Bend Community College. Next slide. Our current fundraisers, State of Black businesses that we do during our Juneteenth. We have 10 days of Juneteenth activities that are planned. And so we try to participate with this fun luncheon. Our annual awards banquet that we do in November. And commemorative pin sets that we, and I'll show you a picture of them in the next slide. We thought about a golf tournament, but logistically, we're weighing our options on that. And then through our website, we have an online store to sell our mugs, shirts, and koozies, and also our pin set. Next slide. These are our commemorative keepsake pins that we had we made. This guy locally does these creates these pin sets. So we did one for chamber logo. One is for Juneteenth. One represents jazz and gospel music, and then the fourth one represents Solomon Coles, who was a historical figure in the community. Next slide. Community involvement. In the past, we did a diaper drive with our local TV station. Juneteenth, we would help with COVID-19 vaccination. We helped with. We did a diversity mixer with our local symphony organization. Now we're doing we're as far as community involvement, we're planning this year economic empowerment forums or small business forums. And we're going to try and hold these at the local churches. Continue support with Juneteenth events. Sorry for it looking all messy. And then also with the being political year, we do our candidates in conversation, and we try and partner with other Black organizations to invite candidates to come and have conversations about, why they're running. Next slide. Next slide. Right now we have 11 members of our board of directors. Next slide. We hand out to all our board expectations so they know if you accept being a board member, these are your expectations. And we hand them the form and we try and go over it after elections, and we do board orientation. Next slide. Next slide. These are our committees: economic development, membership development, fund development, advocacy, legislative affairs, bylaws, marketing, tourism, community outreach, and military. They're like task force. They're not really committee, but we're trying to find someone who can head up our military task force to try and do something our information session for our Black veterans. And some of them are business owners. And you can, the last 3 slides are just other stuff, but you can stop the presentation. I think the biggest thing this year, or last year, we were able to pass a strategic plan. And I think this year at our retreat, we discussed policies, like vendor policies, and brand policy about communication and brand, you know, protecting our brand. Because we found that we had some members, you know, want to join the chamber, but then all of a sudden want to use our name and not really support us, but then use it for their own little side hustle. Like, you're not gonna mess up our brand name. So we had to have a conversation around protecting our brand. And then also we had a follow-up meeting, because last year we did a procurement event with ExxonMobil. So we have a follow-up meeting. We had a follow-up meeting, and we're going to do another collaboration with the United Chamber, which is like the big white chamber. Well, it was a Corpus Christi chamber, and then Hispanic chamber, they merged to become the United Chamber of Commerce. So we were like, well, we want to make sure our logo is on the flyer if we're going to be partners in having a big procurement event or diversity supplier event for ExxonMobil. And that's my presentation.
Thanks, Madam Secretary and President. I appreciate you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for being our first presenter of the year. I saw it. Is that a Collin County? Oh, I see Collin County is on. So I want to make sure, Christian, we put them on the roll. Thank you for joining us. Are there any questions for our presenter? I had a quick question. Oh, D, go ahead. I believe
excuse me. You shared a great deal of information, and thank you for that. You have a naval station there or something? I know you have something military in Corpus Christi.
Yeah, we have yes, we have the Army Depot. We have all the branches of the government except for the Marines, because we have the Coast Guard, we have the Army Depot, we have the Air Force, and there's the Army depots, and then there's one in Kingsville, I think, with the Navy.
Do you have a hard time either getting access or getting participation?
It's definitely challenging, because we got them to participate last year in our Black Business Expo, you know, for recruitment. Like, their big thing is, what's in it for me? So we always try to set up something where they can be able to recruit, because that seems to be their big thing, wanting to recruit for the military. So that's how we have to get them to participate. But the mayor, I know our local mayor does a interagency breakfast, and a lot of times they show up there. So that's when they're a captive audience. So I'll be going over there trying to talk to them about stuff.
Yeah, well, we have Dyess Air Force Base here, and throughout the years, depending on who is the wing commander or whoever's in charge, we've had access to the base and been able to participate with them for Black History events. Of late, though, because of the B-21, and you know, we have home of the B-1, but now the B-21, even our access has been cut. So I was just wondering if, you know, you're running into security issues or anything like that. Now, they do try to come out periodically, because there are some that And like you said, this in your presentation, they have businesses because they're looking at what they're going to do once they leave the military. And we just have not been able to capitalize on that. They'll come out for a minute, come to a meeting, and you never hear from them again. But just thank you for sharing.
Well, I know they have invited us to do a tour, but it's just logistics. It's the logistics, trying to get people to commit on a certain day and time because they have to have their, have to have their clearance in weeks in advance. So they have invited us to do a tour. I just need to set up a meeting with whoever their lead guide is off base.
Good deal. Thank you. I had an initial question. I noticed that you said that the chamber was originated in 1943, but then you all rebooted it in 2006. Tell us a little bit about that process. What was the need, and how did you all get the reorganization, get that done at Corpus Christi?
The need was that, I think with the Secretary of State, I think there's something where, you have to renew before 50 years or something like that. And you had the people who were active with the Negro Chamber of Commerce, they were transitioning.
Got you.
And there was no leadership pipeline created. And then the part of it was updating and upgrading our vision and purpose and mission to meet the times. And so it had to be reorganized, and all the legal paperwork had to get redone through the Secretary of State and everything, and the IRS.
Got you. So what was the timing between before 2006? Was the Black Chamber active the entire time, or how long was it inactive before you all reactivated in 2006?
It wasn't active the entire time. I think there may have been like 5 years or so where just nothing was happening. It was just the name was on the books as far as on the Secretary of State roles, but nothing was actively being engaged in.
Okay. Good deal. Are there any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just a couple of side notes regarding these gaps in the formation, as we noted earlier, when the Texas State Negro Chamber was founded in 1936, and they literally, A. Maceo Smith and Mac Hanna literally just crisscrossed the state. Every place there was any Black population that was engaged in commercial activity. And so, not unlike Corpus Christi, think about Lufkin. Now the Citizens Chamber down in Lufkin. And at that time, it was a sawmill, a Black-owned sawmill, sugarcane processing, and a railroad head, right? Mm-hmm. And so one of their early members was clearly, quote unquote, a sandwich shop, and that activity has not ceased, and the organization still exists, but the commercial activity is way, way, way down from when it was actually founded in 1947, right? Mm-hmm. Just like the Ennis Negro Chamber of Commerce. It was an important community in Ellis County, right? And there were Black folk there who needed to buy goods and services and couldn't go downtown. And so the Black Chamber was a vital part of that. So that was across the state. And so we know San Antonio was formed just barely a couple of years after Corpus Christi. Sherman and Denison still has a Black Chamber that was founded in the 40s. And then that's just one note. And then as we move forward, back to the military question, maybe one of the things that we can kind of soft plan for, as Dee noted, Dyess Air Force Base, one of the biggest Air Force bases in the country, Shepherd Air Force Base is in Wichita Falls, Lackland and Randolph Field in San Antonio, plus Fort Hood on the Army base side. Ronnie Russell down at Innovation Black Chamber has kind of taken on defense contracting and Veterans Affairs kind of contracting as a significant part of their growth model in Corpus Christi, in Killeen. And so that may be something that we can address to get us all of those who have military bases in their service areas might develop a strategy on how best to engage, because clearly Uncle Sam spends more money than anybody else. And so if they're building a runway out there at Dyess Field, somebody's supposed to be a millionaire. So that may be an opportunity for us as an organization to kind of undergird some business growth in the markets that have military presence.
Okay. No, thanks for that context, Mr. President. I think that is absolutely important for all of us to understand, because as we are approaching, as we are in 2024, TAAACC and the principles that was founded in 1936 is still applicable to our businesses, Black businesses across the state. And so we are, my goal as chair, in which I've shared since last year, is to improve the infrastructure technologically, so that we're not necessarily driving 50 miles an hour along a Texas highway, as Antonio Maceo Smith did throughout his stint in leadership for decades in building the Black ecosystem in Texas. But it's vital for us to be able to stay connected. That's why we wanted to have these presentations. I want to thank you, Ms. Graham, for your presentation here with Corpus Christi, for kicking us off. We're looking forward to being a resource to all of our Black chambers across the state. I have one last question for you, Coretta. What is something that either TAAACC or members of other Black chambers of commerce can do to help you and the Corpus Christi Black Chamber of Commerce?
I would love any ideas on to help with member retention. Like, our goal was 80 members last year. We got up to like around 70, but then getting them to renew has always been an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we give them so much bang for their buck is ridiculous. But why they don't see it as it's like we have to continue to prove ourselves every year to realize, to get them to value the chamber as a good investment. So, and then we find out about local Black businesses, and then we invite them to become members with the chamber. And then it's like, I guess they figure because we're a predominantly Hispanic community that they can go elsewhere. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But then when they get in trouble, then they want us to help bail them out.
Right. Any other comments from our local leaders in other chamber markets? I think I've heard that discussion multiple spaces, including at statewide level as well. So you're not alone in that, Coretta. Does anyone have any comments or feedback?
Yes, this is Ben. I really like the way their schedule of events. They had one, the State of Black Business, the Martin Luther King breakfast, and some others. I thought those were pretty good ideas as a way to bring the chamber together and celebrate.
Good deal. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate that. Any other comments or feedback? Good deal. This is what we'll do. I appreciate this discussion. I want to bring on a chairwoman that I neglected to introduce, Miss Valerie Warrior for Collin County. I thought I saw a logo, but I didn't want to misspeak. That's on me. Valerie, please state your name and an interesting fact and any feedback you have as a growing Black chamber in North Dallas, in the North Texas region.
Oh, good morning, everyone. You didn't have to do that. It's no big deal. It wasn't an oversight. I was enjoying all the information. I knew I was on when you asked about give something unique. And I really didn't have anything unique to say per se for the chamber, except for myself, that I love the Dallas Cowboys. And I begrudgingly watched the Super Bowl yesterday, and I rooted for the 49ers, and I was disappointed that they lost. So,
oh my. Well, people are calling it the Colin Kaepernick effect.
Oh wow! Oh my! I never thought about that.
But thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, all my pleasure. All my pleasure.
Good deal. Good deal. We want us to have this. This is the avenue in the discussion space where I want chamber leaders to be able to communicate. I want us to know where we stand as where each chamber stand in their market, so that we can help one another. So thank you, like I said, Coretta, again, for sharing. Yes.
I have two more things. I guess if TAAACC, I know you've probably done this before, but if TAAACC would be good if TAAACC could do if they want to, a virtual workshop on marketing, because we're finding that with a lot of these Black businesses, they do not understand that they need to set aside marketing budget. They need to understand that if they're particularly new and they don't already have a customer base, they have to learn how to build clientele. Otherwise, it's going to be the struggle is going to be even harder than they anticipated, because they're not marketing their business. And so we find that a lot, and they expect the chamber to be the one to market their business. Like, no, that's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We put you in touch with people who can help you come up with your marketing plan, and you need to pay professional people who are experts to do that. But
I think that's a great idea. I think, and I don't know if Ms. President has something to say, but I definitely would like to follow up with our project manager, because she has done workshops like that before. I think we have a partnership with Google that can provide that. But I think it's important, if Christian hosts this event, that we are present as Black chamber leaders on the call. And so if you all are willing to do that, we are willing to create that program to make that work, not only for you as leaders, but for you all to invite your chamber members as well, so that we can have hundreds of people on the call to listen to that presentation. I think that's great feedback, Coretta. Kristen, did I overstep? Are you capable of creating that type of workshop? Because I want to make sure.
What is that even? What is that even, Matt? No.
Well,
absolutely.
I'm a dreamer over here, and so
absolutely.
But
No,
I do remember your Grow with Google marketing workshop.
Right.
That I thought would be that could be some benefit for our Black chamber members. And I also received an email from Dalen, who works with Google here in North Texas, saying that they're having some initiatives. So we'll go deeper into that, Coretta, so that we can provide that resource for every Black chamber, so that you all can have your members on that call.
Yeah,
Matt, there is one such short term. One of the things that we have strived to make available is the serious lineup of workshops available through U.S. Black Chambers. There's one coming up, Black Business Summit. It is a Grow with Google event on the 22nd. That's one that we can co-brand with TAAACC members if they like. That's 1 o'clock Central on February 22nd. That's one such short-term opportunity. So we can start and build from there,
Sounds good.
Go ahead,
I'm
Dee.
sorry, I have one last quick question and then I'll close up here. Ms. Graham stated that they do a lot for their members. And so we are all volunteers like you, and we don't seem to be able to do enough. So would you at some point just kind of share, you don't have to do it on this call, but kind of share what all you do for your members? Because when we try to bring them in, it's never enough. We're part of the Navigator, so we provided all sorts of training and we do the referrals to SBDC. We call in Calvin when we need Calvin. We do the things that help, but it's never enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like our members want us to run their business for them, which we do not do, which we're not going to do. But currently, we do member spotlights, try to highlight a member on our website, on our or our social media pages. We do our monthly motivations, monthly Monday motivations, where we have a presentation on something that's necessary for business people. Last year we did disaster planning, estate planning, and insurance. We did like 3 months on cryptocurrency, understanding blockchain and all that. We always partner with SBA, Small Business Administrator, our local SBA. They'll do one of the presentations. But then this year or last year, we started an in-house or in-person office hours with Small Business Administration. And then we brought in Lift Fund, which I think used to be Action.
Mm-hmm.
And then locally, we have Contractors Resource Center to help people if they want to get into contracting with state and local entities. That is, that's a grant funded program. So we bring them in for people to physically come in and talk to people who can help them in the access to capital area to learn about, because the other big challenge we're seeing is that a lot of business don't have their paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
So they get frustrated, but it's like, well, you got to make sure you have your paperwork together, that your business is not just a hobby.
Right.
And
You have to
so,
legitimize your business, right?
yeah, you have to make sure you dot all your I's and cross all your T's. We also will provide professional headshots if they need one. We also do quarterly membership mixers. Only 2 of them are free though. So we provide a quarterly membership mixer for them to meet up. We also have a Facebook group that they can join up for free, so they can start to collaborate with each other as businesses.
Mm-hmm.
We also, when they join, they get a koozie, a cup, a T-shirt, a pin, lapel pin. And then what else? They get access to, because we send out emails about different grants that are specifically geared toward Black-owned businesses. And we'll send out emails concerning that. We'll send out emails concerning our programs, like the one we're doing, the Small Business Forum. Like we're going to send out an email about the Google U.S. We always send out information about what U.S. Black Chamber is doing, what TAAACC is doing. Those workshops, they have access to that information. So those are some of the things that, we try to provide for them at a seriously discounted rate. But, it's just not enough because they want us to run their business for them, but that's not what we do.
That's
I
very true. That's
You know,
I think to your point, Mr. Chairman and Mr. President, that is one of those, hey, beyond this Monday call, let's connect with one another as chairs, as presidents in our local markets to share and swap information. What are you guys doing as your member benefit package? What does that look like? How's that working? How does that translate? And I think that could be extremely beneficial. So if there is a document that you guys have, feel free to share that information with one another so that we can, kind of all share and grow from there.
And feel free to reply all to the messages that Charles or myself provide with our Monday morning momentum announcements, because it has everyone on the roster, whether they're chamber supporters or leaders of organizations, so we can continue that communication.
We used to do monthly newsletters, but that's because I was doing them.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have the
it's
bandwidth.
like,
Yeah, you don't have the bandwidth, Coretta. So yeah,
I put
totally
the pause on that, but we want to go back and do like an actual publication.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman, let me jump in. Sometimes it may be, it sounds crazy, but it may be as simple sometimes as reminding or keeping in front of them what they get from their chamber membership. It's kind of reflexive that businesses associate a chamber benefit with the number of events they attend or the size of the event. And they don't recognize that there's 364 more days of work going on in between them showing up at this event. I take Dallas, for example. Most business owners in Dallas don't recognize that the city of Dallas did not have a goals program until the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce went to work to establish a goals program for procurement opportunities in the city of Dallas. They don't know that DFW Airport did not have a goals program, that the city transit authority did not have a goals program until the chamber did that work. And so they're reaping the benefits of chamber work without there ever having been a member of the chamber. And so I used to tell folk all the time, you ought to support the chamber because I was working for you before you got here. And so again, I know, like say D is working out there in Abilene. They've been a part of the SBA Navigator program. That took hard work just to get that relationship so that they could extend a benefit to clearly not their members. They did it for all the Black businesses in the county or in the service area. And so they got to know that we were working for you before you even thought about us. We were thinking about you. And so we've got a strong message that clearly, I'd say Ennis, 1940 something, Corpus Christi, 1940 something, we've been working for you. And we just got to remind folk that we're all standing on the shoulders of somebody who put in some work before we got here. And Black chambers clearly have been on the forefront of working for Black business in the state of Texas. Almost 100 years now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. No, thank you, Mr. President. I do want to also state another program that we can use that you could promote to your members. That will be Saturday. I'm hosting, and I want to thank Linda Gray. She's on the call for referencing me to speak at the Empower series, How to Grow Your Business. I spoke with Clifton Johnson, who's agreed to allow TAAACC to be a sponsor as well. So we'll send you that. We'll send you, not allow, but since I'm speaking, we're able to spread it to our TAAACC network. I will send that information to you all after this call as well. All right. Thanks, Coretta. Appreciate you. I'm going to move forward. I want to state a couple of more announcements before we move, before we close. One, I know that we are working, the project manager, the Dallas Black Chamber and I are working to create a Black Business Day at the Capitol this spring. We typically do this every year so that we can not only talk to legislators, but I want to combine the efforts that was generated by the Dallas Black Chamber last year in communicating with legislative staff people as well, so that we can provide a resource for Black businesses in Austin to not only talk to elected officials, but also staff people. I wanted to gauge you all's appetite for attending Austin, going to Austin. What did we say? March the 20th, March 19th to 20th, Kristen. It's a little over a month away. Is this something that you and or your members will be able to do as we are creating this program and creating the logistics of this program? I would like to hear your thoughts, because Randall Bryant, Harrison Blair, Kristen, and I will be working on these initiatives, and want to make sure we maximize programmatic opportunities so that we can communicate with state officials. Kristen, do you have any background on that, or any other things to say?
No, I think that's perfect. I would like to, I guess, hear you guys chime in if that, to your point, Mr. Chairman, is that something that you guys are not just interested in, but those roundabout dates, does that work for you to engage and also engage your local businesses? March, I think we said 19th or 20th, that Monday or Tuesday. Monday, Monday is 18th, so Tuesday, Wednesday, 19th. Yeah.
Next month.
Yep. Tuesday, probably leaning more toward Tuesday.
So be prepared to get more information. We want to have the state members of the state chamber in Austin, y'all's members, so that we can have questions answered, not only from political officials, but also the staff people who are representing the state as well. Also, as we stated earlier, Coretta will probably send you all a link or communication in the next month or so to identify which Chamber of Commerce would be our spotlight for our Monday Morning Momentum starting in April. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you all have any questions, or if you all want to be engaged, attack in any way, please feel free to reach out to either myself, to Kristen, or to Charles O'Neal, so that we can stay connected between Monday Morning Momentums, because our main takeaway is so that we can continue this conversation. We don't just want to have a monthly meeting where you all are talking, but we want this to catalyze a further relationship with other Black chambers throughout the state, between second Mondays, so we can better our chambers. So if y'all have are there any other questions, comments, or concerns before we dismiss?
Mr. Chairman, I think one of the things that we need to get definitive on is our first quarter board meeting.
Yes.
And lock down either if that's a Zoom and or a physical meeting. I think that's going to be that's one thing we have to do. And one other quick announcement. I think Kristen mentioned it earlier. We're working as a function of the extension of the Community Navigator program. We're developing, I think, a pretty innovative, and I'll call it a contracting opportunity in select markets. That one of the things we've attempted to do as we've grown in our ability to attract support, financial support to the work that we do, is try to figure out innovative ways to offshore that financial support to local chambers. And so you'll hear more about that here in the coming weeks, short-term weeks. that we believe that our relationship with the extended Community Navigator program will allow us to provide some opportunity for local chambers to benefit financially in exchange for their support for the work that we are contracted to perform as a spoke or as a hub for Texas Black businesses. And so that's a short-term deal. We think it'll be a beneficial and a welcome, not no big giant sums of money, but any extra money, I think, in the local Black chamber is going to be some welcome money. So look out for that. We'll be able to announce those shortly. Again, select markets. But again, as we're working toward not just our quarterly board meeting, but as we finalize planning for our annual conference in September, we're trying to start earlier this year so that we got at least 6 months worth of time to develop sponsorship opportunities. We do raise that money, yes, to offset the cost of hosting a conference, but also to have the financial resources in the event that we can support a local chamber in the development of programs in their local markets, that there's an opportunity for us to be supportive in a financial way. Many times, as you do know, many times corporate supporters want the comfort of writing one check rather than writing 30. And so we have been partners with a few corporate partners in extending their reach to local markets by them supporting TAAACC and us in turn forwarding those resources to local chambers. And we think that that's going to be one of the outcomes of this anti-affirmative action, anti-DEI. I think we're going to see a diminishing of corporate support unless they can do it on their terms. And I think their terms is going to be, we want to write one check, we don't want to write 30. And so we want to amp up our presence as an organization that does give them a place to continue supporting Black-owned businesses.
Agreed. Thank you for that, Mr. President. I agree 1,000%, and I appreciate that. Appreciate that addition. Good deal. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I put mine in the chat.
Okay. We're not going to vote on the state location yet. We're going to work on that at executive committee, Coretta, and then we'll announce it to the people at our quarterly board meeting. All right. I'm thinking we've discussed, and I want to give you all background. The exec committee had a meeting. We discussed the quarterly board meeting, and we discussed 2 locations at our January meeting. We're going to finalize that at our February executive meeting so that we can establish, Mr. President, we can let the body know where we'll have our first quarterly board meeting, whether it's virtual or in person. All right. There are no other questions, comments, concerns. I will conclude this Monday Morning Momentum at 11:21 a.m. Thank you all very much for being on the call. Coretta, thank you for your presentation. We're looking forward to the Dallas Black Chamber's presentation next month, and looking forward to discussing chamber business throughout the month with you all as members. Y'all have a great one, and happy Black History Month.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.